Greetings. By virtue of your presence watching this video today, I want you to know that we consider you to be an extended member of our family at Unity in Linwood. We believe that you are an individualized expression of that one creative impetus which stands behind all life. And as such, we celebrate the uniqueness which you are, and we celebrate our unity with you. We are glad you're with us.
It's taken from the hymnal of Barbra Streisand. Welcome, Facebook fans. If you are from Unity Tacoma and if you have tuned in this morning, go to church. But we also owe Unity of Tacoma a great gratitude. We received a note a couple weeks ago that said essentially this: thank you, Linwood, for being such a positive presence in our region. We are closing our spiritual gift shop and would like to give you all of it. So, I know, Heidi, life is good. So today, well, we're having a book sale. We're having a book sale today. So if in Friendship Hall you choose to purchase one book, you will receive a 50% discount. If you purchase 2 books, you will receive a 60% discount. If you purchase 3 books, you will receive a 70% discount. It's good stuff. Go have a look. And as I reviewed the inventory and refreshed it in my mind, if you will, I thought I'd share some titles with you. Your spiritual gift shop has titles such as Your Body Believes Every Word You Say. Isn't that a great title? Or how about this one, Natural Abundance? Or one of my favorites, The Art of Uncertainty. Does that speak to anybody? Excuse me, your life is waiting. Finding yourself in transition, Peace from Broken Pieces. On Death and Dying, Why Religion Matters, Chasing Rumi, Misquoting Jesus, another book called Jesus and Buddha, another book called Getting to the Heart of Inner Faith. Authors including Eckhart Tolle, Bishop John Shelby Spong, Marcus Borg, Don Miguel Ruiz, Matthew Fox, Thich Nhat Hanh. How did I do? Thank you. I had a pronunciation lesson between services. Jim Rosemergy, our own interfaith amigos, and of course Fillmore, the 12 Powers, Prosperity, Teach Us How to Pray, Mysteries of John, Keep a True Lent, and more and more and more. I invite you to visit your spiritual gift shop again for the first time. If you have not experienced it lately, you haven't experienced it all. For the second time, we're doing a Woodstock Anniversary Sunday. That comes up on August 13th. It's a big, fun, tie-dye, colored, hippie celebrating experience. If you would like to be part of the choir, there are informational postcards at the Welcome and Information Station. There will be 3 evening rehearsals. All are welcome. You will not be asked to sing alone. You will not be asked to audition. Show up with an open heart, please. Your all-community picnic. Register at the information station. It is on the last Sunday of this month. That's 2 weeks from today, the 30th. It follows this service. It's held at Lindale Park. Please allow your staff, allow your Board of Trustees to thank you for your gift of presence and for your countless gifts of service. Please honor us with your presence. And finally, Friday, September 15th, we have free tickets available. We do ticket these events to be certain that we have comfortable seating for all. This is my second ordination ceremony. It's on Friday evening, September 15th at 7 o'clock p.m. This will be officiated by Reverend Lisa Davis of Unity Portland. Other clergy available for the evening will be Reverend Ann Thomas. Welcome her home. She is Unity and Linwood's Minister Emeritus. Reverend Nina Clark, Mother Kathy Chalmers, Reverend Karuna Duvall, Father Dan Duvall, of course, Rabbi Ted Falcon. Free tickets available in the spiritual gift shop. Every service has an ambassador. This person's role is to support you in your exploration of this evolving idea we call Unity in Linwood. If you have a question about who we are, what we believe, what we teach, about what is available to you, or if you have a suggestion about how we might provide greater welcome or support you more fully, she will be available to you at the Welcome and Information Station. Her name is Nan Allen. Would you wave at these lovely souls, please, Miss Nan? Practical spirituality, welcoming community. I have to tell you, I still love it. I still love it. And every week I like to support it with one of the 6 bullet points which we developed in conversation with your Board of Trustees beginning in late 2014. Take a deep breath yet again. Let's see if you can agree with this. Is this a spiritual value, a place in consciousness with which you can align? It reads as follows: we welcome people from all spiritual traditions and from no spiritual tradition whatsoever into every activity of our community. Is that you? Yeah, me too. The power of the month. Mr. Fillmore set forth 12 powers which he taught to be inherent and at work within all of humanity. The power of the month is celebrated in a fun way by wearing a certain color. Our color this month is the color gold. For those of you who are wearing gold, thank you. I acknowledge you. I salute your acumen. And the power of the month is understanding. And if I were to summarize understanding according to my current understanding of it, it is this. Mr. Fillmore wrote a great deal about understanding as being intuitive knowing. He said that the intellectual part of us can take us up to the threshold of enlightenment, if you will, but it is this intuitive knowing. It is the brain of the heart, he called it. It is the brain of the heart that is most capable of taking us further on the path. It is to know that you know. He referenced Hebrew scriptures heavily. He referenced conversations with Albert Einstein heavily about this power of understanding, or this experience of knowing that we know. If you'd like to have a more conversation about this, one of our licensed Unity teachers, Barbara Thorpe, will happily meet with you as part of a discussion group. It follows this service. It's called Power to the People. I just love that title. It's in my office following this meeting. All are most welcome. That is correct, isn't it, Barbara? All are welcome? Okay. I thought I better check that. I call this service Soul Matters, and in truth, I created it not knowing exactly how it would take form. But I think there's something important happening. We are blessed by an ever-increasing number of clergy among us who desire to participate in our conversation. And so today I'm welcoming 4 of them to have candid conversation with me from the platform. It's part of a program that we are making welcome, if you will, called Interfaith at Unity in Linwood. So I welcome 3 people. Would you join me as well in welcoming Father Dan Duval and Mother Kathy Chalmers and Reverend Nina Clark and Rabbi Ted Falcon? May I join you?
Yes, you may.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And that's the way religion works. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Dr. Richard, for doing this.
And that's how spirituality works. I'm very pleased to announce that as we give rise to this Interfaith at Unity in Linwood program, that our own Rabbi Ted has agreed to chair the effort. Would you thank him for me, please? So, a couple wild-haired metaphysicians, a Franciscan, a Catholic, a rabbi,
went into a bar.
That will be at 2 p.m., folks.
Yeah. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. What an amazing collection of irony as viewed through the lens of so many religious traditions, in which we separate and would draw lines between us. What a privilege. What a privilege to be with you and to see you together. What is it that brings two wild-haired metaphysicians, two Catholics and a rabbi to be on a platform at a Unity church on a morning such as this? Well, thank you for coming.
Do you have any other questions?
Because collectively, apparently, we do not know.
At the earlier service, I said it was grace, and I think it's grace. Grace of God's goodness and mercy and creative wonderment.
How so?
Because what you're doing here, dear Dr. Richard, is so brilliant and so attractive by law that we are all gathered here under this roof of that we are blessed to have this space and this time and this consciousness that we're building together and weaving as a fabric here at Unity in Linwood. That's my answer, really, on reflection, that what this community is doing allows this brilliance to unfold.
We're with her.
Me too.
I have often said that I feel that many of us met on the other side and decided to come here in the early 2000 teens to do something together, to do a great work together. And that's supported for me by, periodically looking in the eyes of someone who walks in our door and going, I know you. And so at first service I said listening, but I think really, we all listened to get here, but I think we really did decide somewhere in our souls to come here at this time to do a great work of unifying, of coming together, of erasing lines, of seeing our commonality. And I really think that's why we're here.
Thank you.
When I had a congregation in Seattle, we always met at churches because I would never trust me with a building. And mostly we had our home at Unity in Bellevue. And after I left the congregation, I persisted in doing High Holy Day services in the fall because it was just part of my DNA. And we have been here for the High Holidays. I think this is the 6th year. And during that time, I have become what I had never become before. By now they're really wondering what that is. I became a congregant. This this is a place guided by people and populated by people who are doing their best to walk their talk. This is a place of an open heart. And I am so grateful to have found this, to have found Dr. Richard and Matthew. The only time I'm unhappy is when there's someone else coming singing. God bless them. I don't mean anything. This is just a very special place, and it's really an honor to be here. And I love being here with all of us. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
I can't either. I can't either.
Last year, my wife and I, we weren't married at that point, were living in Portland. And we were coming up to Washington almost once a month because we didn't like Oregon so much. And then when we decided that we were actually going to get married, she said, well, I want Ted and Jamal to marry us. And I said, well, wait a minute, I'm Catholic. I mean, that's okay, but somebody I went to seminary with lives in Washington. And so Ted said, well, why don't you get the person you know, and we'll all pick a date and get together and discuss the wedding. And lo and behold, when Kathy and Nina walked into that room, her friends knew my friends. What were the chances of that? Me from Vermont and walking into a room where our friends knew each other. So I agree wholeheartedly with everything that's been said. We're here because we're meant to be, and we're here because we were invited.
I'm glad you're here. The God word. From disparate spiritual traditions, the God word. Speak into it. Nina Clark, I start with you.
For me, and I actually had the privilege of giving a talk a couple of weeks ago that's kind of along these lines. And for me, infinite and God are synonymous. I love the idea that the infinite is everywhere that there is, that it is inescapable, that no matter what I think I can do to get away from it, I can't. No matter where I think I might hide, I can't. For me, the arrival at that really came out of a double negative of, I can't not be of God. Because if infinite is, then it is where I am. And the other thing I love about infinite is that it also makes God very personal. Because if infinite is everywhere, it is right where I am. It cannot not be. And so for me, infinite is synonymous with God. And it's everywhere, and it's right where I am.
Beautiful.
My my very first theological exploration was, as a kid, to discover whether God in every language backwards spelled dog. This is actually true. It was my first theological exploration and also my shortest. The real challenge is we all have the specific words that come from our backgrounds, our culture, our languages, our traditions. And it's like words describing a river. And sometimes we forget that the rivers all flow into an ocean. And we mistake the river for the ocean. It's like we mistake the path for the top of the mountain where we meet. And the real challenge is to take a language that speaks oneness and actually live it into the world, instead of thinking, well, that one is our one and not your one. And to get that one means one. Universal means universal. Infinite means infinite. Presence means presence. So the language of unity and the language I speak meld. You know, we really are expressing the same thing, the same oneness. And the real challenge for us all is to get out of our heads and to get out of the bounds of language and really walk the oneness we are into the world so hungry for the oneness that will allow us to survive as a species and as a planet.
There we go. Wow. You spoke to this yesterday. I paraphrase, please correct me if I'm wrong, that language does what language does. Language distinguishes and, in effect, divides. And so what is it that's behind the language that we would give rise to? And the Tao, Kathy, you referenced the Tao earlier. You know, the Tao that can be spoken is not the true Tao. You know, the pitfalls of language, the pitfalls of trying to express these ideas.
I think it gets right to, and I'm sure you knew what you were doing when you did this, even if you didn't know that you knew you were doing it, that it gets right to the power of the month. The knowing that you know it, even if you don't have words for it, because I think on my path to the priesthood and as a priest, what I am increasingly comfortable with and tremendously uncomfortable with in the past was the question mark in any regard. A question mark of any type is uncomfortable for humans. Uncertainty is uncomfortable for humans. It's one of our deepest struggles, I think. The uncertainty, the existential angst of not knowing everything all the time. Can anyone relate to that? What? But my journey seems to be unfolding as an increasing comfort with not knowing, or not needing to know all the time everything. Who is God? What is God? Why am I here? Oh my God, why am I here? What am I doing? And who are you anyway? I'm more and more okay with not knowing and just being and letting it all unfold and show itself to me in every encounter and interaction and breath if I'm paying attention. And I think that's my spiritual work, is to pay attention. And,
Beautiful.
And know that I know.
And yet we love our answers, don't we? We will build a box.
St. Francis had only 2 questions in his whole life after his conversion. And the first was, who are you, God? And the second was, who am I? And eventually, he found they were the same question. So the more we look and try and answer those 2 questions, we find the convergence. So if the answer to who are you, God, and who am I is the same, the answer to who am I and who are you becomes the same, regardless of who we're asking.
Wow.
You know, it reminds me of There's a great Hasidic sage named Menachem Mendel of Kotsk who said, if I am I because you are you, and you are you because I am I, then I am not I and you are not you. But if I am I because I am I, and you are you because you are you, then I am I and you are you. And that's the whole thing.
That's enough.
Can we all? Let's all take that together, shall we?
I have to share this.
Please.
On the way here, I saw that on the car in front of me as I was getting off the freeway, that tried and true old bumper sticker that said, "Jesus is the answer." And of course, immediately I thought of the other bumper sticker that said, "If Jesus is the answer, what is the question?" How perfect that I'm presented with this on the way here this morning. But I mean, I thought it was timely and hilarious. So what's the
But
question?
I think it speaks very much to this, and that is Jesus is the answer. It's just he's not the only answer. You know,
Oh, there we go.
and part of what this is about is sharing the answers that emerge from the world's great traditions, not ignoring them, but also not enclosing them. Like making that wisdom and making that teaching available to support us all on the essential path that is our path together.
We talked this morning a little bit about lines that we draw, and one of the reasons why I was so delighted to be asked to join this is that, you know, in individual conversations with everyone here, you know, we're all nodding our heads all the time, you know, and I think that is really the importance. You know, one of the important things about the interfaith movement. I don't know what we're doing here. The interfaith program that we're putting in place here is that we all talk to each other all the time, and we're all nodding, you know, because we've erased the lines between, you know, between our different ways of coming to understand the world and God and this greater mystery that's all around us, and we're all nodding all the time because we realize that we're in agreement. Oh yeah, what you're saying is right on. It speaks to me. And so I'm so delighted that this is happening here because we are erasing these lines.
I think the trajectory ultimately is from interfaith to interfaith. You know, getting to a place where we take responsibility for awakening to the shared presence that we all carry, no matter what the labels are, no matter what the traditions are, no matter what the backgrounds are.
Wow. What is your highest hope then? Let's continue that conversation. Your highest hope for a program such as this? Why is it important? Why would we do it?
It gives us something to do on a Sunday morning.
How do you follow this guy?
He's here all morning.
What I'm experiencing in this now moment is that we are erasing artificial boundaries and giving ourselves permission to be completely open in our exploration of any wisdom that's out there that we feel drawn to. And I feel like if we're drawn to it, then it has something for us. I'm not drawn to every world religion, but I am drawn to many of them. And I always find something. And it's usually the same something that I found somewhere else at the root of it. And earlier I mentioned that at the 9 o'clock service I mentioned a poster that's of the Golden Rule. And you have more on that. But
I have another rule.
you have the Rabbi Ted has a golden reality that he embodies so well. But that I think that anyway, the poster elaborates the golden rule across world religions, and it's all very, 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 very similar. But we're having this field of permissivity and possibility and open exploration and open-heartedness and receptivity to be universal and particular at the same time, because we all have particularities that resonate with us more than some others, but we also seek this universality that unifies all of us, and that we seek to really, really experience that which is unifying, because we know it's there and we want to feel it. We want to experience it. We want to know it. We want to understand it as the power of understanding. But the particularities here and elsewhere are also resonant, otherwise we wouldn't have them. We could all just wash it all away and just be one thing, but I think it's more interesting that we do many things together.
I love that Rabbi Ted has often shared this conversation opener when somebody comes to you and as the three amigos, and it's like, what can I say is there anything that I could say that would make you change your mind and become of my faith? And the answer is for both, no, because this is what I am. Okay, now that we know that, can we talk? Because we're no longer trying to change each other. We're trying to understand. We're trying to connect. We can actually hear what someone else says when we're just listening, and we might discover that we have a lot more in common than we thought we did before we were trying to change the other person's mind. And so,
Well, to speak into that, I love that idea of particularities. I love it that we have particularities. I want you to be devoutly Catholic. I want my Jewish rabbi. I want that. But I also think that we are at a point in evolution at which we can de-weaponize our use of our particularities. We can de-weaponize it. Closing thoughts.
One of the things that strikes me is the question, what is religion for? I ask, what is Judaism for? What is Christianity for? What's Islam for? What's Buddhism for? What's Hinduism for? If all we're for is strengthening our own communities, it's not worth it. Each tradition actually speaks a trajectory toward celebration of the one. The institutionalization eclipses the spirituality in all our traditions. I believe that this context, the context in which we are meeting now, is about the least institutionalized community, that is right now, and that can contain the particularities and remind us all of that which we are aiming toward, that really can focus us on what's crucial within each of our traditions. And so where we can say to each other, what do you have to offer that helps me, that helps us transcend our illusion of separateness? What do you have to offer me that will help me transcend the competition, the comparison? What do you have to offer me that will help me remember who I am?
And when I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's a very old book, and if anybody was Catholic in the 1970s, they might remember it, called Hind's Feet in High Places. We got a couple. And what's coming to mind is what that book embodies is two people from very different places in the caste system that were off on a journey, and they had complementary purposes that they didn't know to how to help each other get to the top of the mountain. And it's only in their participation with each other, which took a long time for them to be able to be comfortable enough to do. Because in one caste system, you don't touch somebody of a lower caste, but I need a hand to get up this mountain. whose hand do I grasp? And it was really a book about division and how do we overcome division to get to that place that we really want to be. So I think that generation after generation, century after century, this opportunity comes around. And here it is again. And you know, I envisioned it as Nina was talking when we're all nodding. Yeah, I want to see more nodding heads. I'm like, we can all be bobbleheads.
But I will say, this is a model for me for a world that works. You know, when I see this and experience this conversation, I have hope. As a matter of fact, it's not even hope. It is understanding. It is that intuitive knowing. I now know by virtue of the gift you have given this morning that this is possible. It's not a theory. It's a possibility. I want you to know that I'm deeply honored to walk with you as colleagues and to have you as my teachers, to call you friends. I'd like to close. I'd like to complete the joke that Rabbi Ted started because it's a joke that I made up in the 9 o'clock service. May I do that again? Will you indulge me?
Yes.
So 2 Catholics and 2 wild-haired metaphysicians and a Jewish rabbi walked into a bar, and they loved each other deeply, and they held each other with great respect and genuine curiosity. That's the end of the joke. Would you thank these people for me, please?
Thanks again for joining us. Please visit unityinlinwood.org for a preview of all upcoming classes, services, and events, and for an opportunity to make a gift to our community should you so choose. Thank you.